All right, so that's live. So I will pause that. Okay, so hi, welcome in. I love that there are people that actually came back. Appreciate it. Love that. So I was looking at an amazing. There's an echo. Why would an echo be there? Echoes are like men. So unnecessary. Hi. So thank you. We're coming in strong. Oh, Black Jesus in the chat. Black Jesus also in the chat. Um, and it's all right. I know who Black Jesus is, like the account one, but I won't tell y'all who it is. Any Hoosers. So if you guys can all go ahead and, handle business the way that you're supposed to. I will run this for a couple of days and see if I can get traction. Thank you for letting me know that. Apparently, I'm also going through puberty. I don't give a fuck. No, it's totally fine. I just needed to make sure that like my settings were okay. Um, but I know that I'm not sleeping tonight because I'm not tired. So I'm probably going to run random shit throughout the night. However, my phone is officially activated. That way I can have some type of civil discourse with other people. I can go ahead and let y'all know that the Conservative Party is a party of acceptance. It's definitely a party of acceptance. My favorite example of that is coming in hot. Hi, Lakin. Yeah, you didn't know? I just want to let you know. Yeah, I'm here to deliver you with that news that the Conservative Party is very accepting. So I'm gonna go ahead and pull that up. And is that a child? That's my mother, not a child. Seriously? Why would a child be there? Here, so I'll go ahead and I will put up my source for the conservatives. Okay, the conservatives being so accepting. Okay, so I swear to goodness, I will find a way to get rid of you. I hear a child. All right, so yeah, here is a little cute little example of the acceptance, and accepting like the First Amendment of like the freedom of like religion and shit. Um, it's probably one of my favorite things that I've read in a very long time. Oh, it doesn't. It says introduces a Mamdani Act. By the way, this is the second Mamdani Act. The first one was about grocery stores. Okay. Um, so with that, it's an act to denaturalize and deport Marxist and Islamic fundamentalists. Okay. Beautiful, wonderful, great, fantastic. So there is not a HR bill for this yet. However, this is on his website. It is on his website, but it is a press release saying that 5 days ago, he went ahead and he introduced a bill that would basically, so the Mamdani Act enacts sweeping immigration law changes that would deport, denaturalize, deny U.S. citizenship or entry to any alien who is a member of a socialist party, a communist party, the Chinese Communist Party, or Islamic fundamentalist party. Do they not know grammar? Or advocates for socialism, communism, Marxism, or Islamic fundamentalism? It's TikTok. I can't do anything about that. So that's the thing. I don't know how that would fucking work. But my question is, if these people are, because the thing is, the two similarities between swearing an oath to serve and a swearing an oath to office, both of those require the fact that you are going to protect the Constitution. Okay. So I feel like it didn't take much to get to, like, the First Amendment of said Constitution, where it was just like, hey, you know, hey, freedom of religion, freedom of speech, freedom to, assemble and shit like that. Oh, well, why would the good old boys be there? All right. All right. So, additionally, the legislation creates new definitions for each of these terms. It creates new definitions for each of these terms. So, we're going back to Red Pill, where it's just like, you know what? The definition is whatever I think it is, not whatever it actually is. You see? You see? Um, and repeals existing loopholes, including chain migration and fraudulent claims and current immigration laws that have facilitated a mass importation of Marxists and Islamists. Honestly, not gonna hold you. Baby commies. But, acceptance, right? The quote is, why do we continue to import people who hate us? We want to be the most hateful group in America. Not just for the last 6 years, but for the last 60 years. Our immigration system has been cynically used to disadvantage American workers. Competitiveness in favor of mass importing the third world. This has not just led to higher crime or lower wages, but also, I'm not saying that word, of hostile, yeah, I'm not saying that word, hostile ideologies fundamentally opposed to American values. Where can I find the list of American values? Anyone? Because, like, would American values be like, because it's interesting because they include the Socialist Party, but they really hone in on the Marxists and Islamists. Islam is a faith. That's a religion. So, my whole thing is when you look at the AI overview, you will see that technically, hello, technically in the Middle East, the reason why the Middle East is people are so like big on being like, hey, it's Islamic, right? It's an Islamic state, is because they won the Crusades. Oh, W over on YouTube. Um, I have someone over there who is still looking for the American values. Thank you. Let me know when you find that. But considering you're still looking, that means you know how to read, and that's important. Um, so here we are, sitting here telling people that it's okay, keep searching, keep digging. You know, it's either you're going to dig and you're going to find it, or you're going to dig and you're going to just happen to have enough space for the big, beautiful day. Okay. Um, but yeah, but we're the Tiras sitting here, and suddenly I was just sitting there with barbecue sauce on my titties. And then I thought, why would a man be there? It wouldn't be barbecue sauce if it was a woman, right? It would be like whipped cream, caramel, a little chocolate dip, you know? Um, but yeah, thank you for the heart me, Spark Spark. I just point that out there. Point that out there. Yes, we know you're a savory sparkle. Hi Maddie, how are you? But yeah, we were just talking about how the conservative party is very accepting. Opens mayonnaise is crazy. So like we're just sitting here and trying to fit like, and as I listen to the, I guess the right leftovers, I guess you could call them, but like as I listen to the ones that are still like really for what's going on, obviously we've already known that is a hateful party. We've already known that. It's very evident. Um, but it's one of those things where it's no longer the quiet part out loud, it's the loud part out loud. Point on your screen where they're, okay, this is something that kind of irritates me when they're like point on your screen that where to the liberal or the Democrat, and I'm just like, but if they're pointing, how are you going to see what their answer is? And exactly. But that's what, like, that's how they get their alternative facts for the moments that, like, they say the things that you can't prove, but also can't disprove. So, another thing that I saw is the fact that Witkoff or the flight that contained Witkoff was being canceled. So let me go ahead and go like actually mint or talk about that. I need to move this over. So let me go ahead and talk about that actually. Is my first experience that I can remember when it came to deconstruction was when I went to New York City with my mom, and I think I was 9 or 11. I don't. That's funny. That was unintentionally funny. However, comma. So I think I need church. Okay. I did not mean to do that. Okay, so my first I know, I'm sorry. My first point of like deconstruction was sitting in the taxi, and we had gotten in the taxi, and a guy had churches for people who don't want accountability. W's. So we had gotten in the taxi, and it was a Middle Eastern man, and I was like, oh my gosh. But at the same time, I had never experienced New York driving. Never. So like the fact that they just I'm like, I'm not sure how the speed limit is 25 and no cars are moving, but you going like 55 and swerving. I'm not understanding it. So all of those things packed in or like stacked onto one another, that was the moment that I was like, I realized that I was like, why do I feel uncomfortable? And I see that now looking back, but obviously I didn't see it then. And that was, yeah, it was just one of those moments that I was like, oh, no. Um, and so like I remembered that um like I remembered that. So we're doing the number tonight. I know Worm, you are technically a friendly. But I also want to keep the panel open for those with specialized information. My sound. Okay, so now I got to go back and check everything. Okay, that's fine. Because I don't know what happened there. I'm going to answer it once I can find the fucking tab that has it on there. Oh, there it is. Hi, thank you for calling. HT, and did you
Hello.
vote?
Ooh, my connection is really bad. I can barely see the video.
So I'm guessing a state that would be very rural.
Sorry, say that again.
So I'm guessing a state with the lack of infrastructure.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm. Age, state, and did you vote?
Oh, 35 Texas, I did not vote.
And why is that?
Uh, it seemed like I was just very disenfranchised at the moment. It didn't seem like it was gonna help to do anything.
What did you want your vote to do?
I mean, help things, of course, like voting.
Like, were you trying to like was your vote supposed to like solve or like get world peace, solve the hunger crisis throughout the world? Like what like was it supposed to give everybody fucking like superpowers? What did you want your vote
Well, I
to
mean,
do?
ultimately, I just want the billionaires to be handled. Like all these tax cuts that are being given for all these people is ridiculous. They ruin everything. The Epstein class. I wanted the Epstein files to be released. I mean, name it. All the shit that Trump hasn't done that he said he was going to do, basically.
Okay. So that encouraged you to stay home rather than like try to mitigate the
I
problems
mean,
that were happening?
it's more nuanced than that. Like, it's. I don't want to turtle into, oh, I have a life and stuff, but I mean, I'm just a normal person. I've got three kids. I've got a job. Everything's falling down around me. It's almost impossible to keep up with all this stuff as a normal person. So, trying to educate myself on the different the whole landscape and then say, yeah, it's actually worth voting for this person over that person just seemed daunting when there's so much going on.
Okay, so like if you were to have a candidate, if you were to have a candidate that was like standing right in front of you, what would be your requests for from that candidate?
Hmm, good question.
Let's do top 3.
I don't like the tax system as it is. That I want something that uh, taxes billionaires at a rate like we used to, what, 50 years ago, where they paid a lot more, and that money went in to help things. The LGBTQ stuff has got to stop. Like I'm so tired of Republicans bashing everybody, Christians bashing gay people because they're not Christian, they can't be Christian. Like, who cares? I don't care anymore about any of that stuff. Let people live. All the foreign wars. We got to quit doing all this crap. Uh, yeah, peace. Peace is a big one.
Okay, so my question would be so when you did talk about staying home and not voting, what stopped you from voting for any other person?
I don't know. I mean, it wasn't really like a conscious choice. It's just kind of how it happened. You know what I mean? Like, just it was more just circumstance. Like it life gets in the way, I guess. Like I didn't make a decision to say, hey, I'm not going to vote this time. But if I was to really sit down and think about it, like it just didn't seem like my vote could do anything.
So it was more so like you feeling like unheard and stuff like that, which is
Yeah, just
understandable.
disenfranchised.
Have you ever heard of harm reduction?
I mean, vaguely, yeah. I'm not super familiar with the term.
Okay, so with harm reduction, you will hear it historically when it comes to voting. You, it would. I know y'all like it's TikTok. It's not anything I can do. It comes and goes. Um, but when it comes to harm reduction, we sit there and we look at it at a historical standpoint, and with that historical standpoint, you think about like, for instance, do you think when Black people got the right to vote? Do you feel as if there was an option for them to vote for someone who wasn't racist?
Oh, I don't know.
The
Probably not.
okay. The answer is no. So you would have to look at policies, compare and contrast, and you find the things that would benefit you the most or benefit your community the most. Um, and being able to see what would bring you the least amount of harm. But the other thing that is important with that is noticing the patterns of the people that are running. So if they are coming from Senate, or if you're looking, for instance, this is a midterm year. So you would want to look at if you have someone that is, they already have a seat and they're just like, and then you have some up and coming grassroots campaign, you want to look at how they voted and how they've been voting on bills. And like for instance, Congress.gov, it has a little nice dot graph thing that it shows how much, like how left this person votes or how right this person votes or how much in the center they are. For instance, I have a senator that votes literally halfway down the right wing fucking spectrum. So he's more right wing than conservatives that would be considered like that are registered fucking Republicans.
That's weird.
Exactly. So those are like the promises made, promises absolutely not fucking kept. And you can tell the people who end up voting, like for instance, I believe he's one of the ones that voted when there was a whole bunch of turmoil. I mean, there's still turmoil with ICE, but when there was a whole bunch of turmoil with ICE. So yes, it is one of those things that you have to actually look into the histories, especially if they already hold an office. But I definitely recommend most people take about like, I'd say an hour a week to catch themselves up with what's going on in the world. And I would probably say 20 minutes of said hour. So a third of that hour, making sure you're looking into how your Congress people and representatives have represented you, especially the representatives. The House of Representatives, those like they cycle through every 2 years. So those are the easiest ones to keep accountable and to hold accountable.
Yeah, so someone like me, like I have ADHD pretty bad. I get hyper focused into things that interest me, and of course politics interests me enough that I can, get interested in, get activated here and there. But the the fact that there's so much creator space that's trying to grab your attention and push you into their ideology. When I get, say, like Parker Get a Job comes on, I open up YouTube to do some research. Parker Get a Job's on. I'm hijacked. Bam, here we go. Of course, Parker Get a Job. I don't know, he's left leaning, not a Democrat. I wouldn't, anyways. But sorry, I kind of lost my train of thought there.
You're okay.
I,
Um,
I was
I
kind of
understand.
driving towards the point that it's not just the big politics. My local politics is also really important. So I think what I'm ultimately trying to get at is for people like me who are easily distracted, having a resource will that is designed to grab your attention and point you in the direction of, say, like, hey, here's the local elections that are coming. Here's the candidates, and then broader than that, the on a federal scale or whatever, the whole country. Here's the congressional things that's going on. Here's what's happening in the Senate, state of representatives. But I don't have a resource like that. So, like I said, it's a lot of just distraction that kind of pulls at people like me.
Have you ever looked into okay, so I have two things for you to look into. So that one would be ground news, where basically it compiles from the left all the way to the right, like right, alt right. and alt left. So it compiles basically the very similar headlines. Don't be like that is like the perfect place for the people that are headline hoochies that just they want to just read the headlines. But it basically compiles all of the sources, and then so you can and then but you can also see how left or right leaning things are. So how biased they're going to be. So that's something that's very great to be able to look at because you can kind of get a rundown of the day. So that would be one. And then the second thing would be a political compass quiz. And because that will actually kind of get your brain working on what more you want to see. Like what more you actually really care about. And there are some questions that you might not be familiar with, which is fine. You just look into it and you might spiral down there. And so even if you do spiral down there, at least you know that you are diving into something that you feel is more important or like very important to you. I will say politics affect everything. It affects our kids' schools. It affects the way, like making sure that our fucking highways are fucking paved. It climate change, whether you believe in it or not. So yes, it affects the weather ultimately. So all of and then Ballotpedia is a great place for if you want to further look into candidates. If you're one of those people who is concerned about funds and where they're allocated to when it comes to candidates, especially in election year, Open Secrets is a great one. I know that was a big concern for a lot of people and has been a big concern for a lot of people. However, you also need to make sure that the good outweighs the bad. So yes, they might be taking something until we can get like Citizens United things like overturned or getting money out of politics. Those are the cards that we are dealt. So I would suggest maybe like as you're reading certain things, pros and cons, and or doing like a random paper, like or just get a piece of paper and write random words as your like buzzwords, and then you can see how they connect, right, and kind of make like yourself a little like a spider web of how things connect, and was like, okay, so if I care about this, then that means it would basically positively affect this and positively affect this, but it might negatively affect this. However, that is also on my cons list, so it's a win-win type of thing.
Yeah. What was the first resource you mentioned?
So the first one was ground news. So those are going to be your news sources that have a nice little scale of basically how biased things are. So you'll find if you want to be in the white if you're looking for something that's basically very centrist. Someone did recommend to look at SourceWatch. The comment is actually SourceWatch is also good to see all the tentacles. So basically for you to be able to see how like everything connects and stuff like that.
Right.
Anything else I can kind of go ahead.
Like historically, my lack of attendance at the voting polls was kind of just being overwhelmed. But Trump has definitely been a wake up call. Like this is insane. If people aren't paying attention now, they're lost. And I get on Facebook all the time. And
why would you go there?
People that are like, good, glad nobody's here. It's wild. I don't understand people. I didn't realize it was this bad, but yeah, it's time to wake up. We can't be passive anymore.
And that's a good way. That's a good way to go. But I also understand feeling like, because I mean, there are still some days that I'm like, what the fuck is the point?
Yeah, it feels that way quite often.
Um, and I
But
understand it.
if we don't do it, nobody's going to.
Yeah. And I think that's a big thing that um, even before it got this bad, like I think it was even it was a little bit after the election, but before the inauguration, where people were like, "Oh no, I've just been raised at Saint like raised on your vote doesn't matter,"
Yeah,
and then people have been raised to just go for federal elections, and then there are people that they feel like they're like, "Oh well, this isn't the system that I want." But this candidate would be it, but they only vote in federal elections. So they don't go for like their
right.
local elections. So that
That's
like
most people I know.
yeah, so that does everyone a disservice because say if you are in a community and you get along with most of the people in your community because you all have the same standpoint, however you're getting different sources, but there's a candidate that comes in that's local that would basically be able to answer all of those questions for you. You take out conservative, you take out fucking liberal, you take those things out, you take out the labels, and they say everything you've been wanting to hear. But no one's talking about it. But also, they're only running in local office. And it's just like, so when you get them at least in local office and people in your community can see the direct impact, then they can continue to be like, oh, wait a second. And I think that's a huge thing when it comes to like re-education, because there are people that they vote off of generations and tradition.
Yep.
So that's what they look like. That's what they go off of. Is like, well, my family's always voted this way, or my family's always voted that way. Or they go for like the big old headlines as to how someone fucked up rather than how they improved something. And so the improvements get lost.
Yeah. So what would you say to someone like me who's like steeped in this Bible Belt, crimson red area, where it feels like, even at a local level, my vote is just washed out by everyone around me. Like, should I be more active in the public space to try to rally support, or just get to the polls and just make sure that something, at least one vote, is cast rather than none?
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
So in any job that you've ever had, right? And there's been someone who's new and unexperienced, but they have a loud fucking mouth. Do you just let them have a loud mouth and just be like, yes, I'll do whatever you say? Or do you show them the way and be like, whether it's by just example or by having a conversation with them, like, hey, you're actually messing things up. This is a great way to do this. Or not saying you mess things up, but like, hey, I just noticed that this is how you do this, but I used to do it that way. However, I found this much easier way, or this much more efficient way, or this much more helpful way to do it.
Yeah. I've always been in training roles in the positions I've ever had, so I mean, I just kind of default to the corrective behavior.
Exactly. So default to the
Good
corrective
analogy.
behavior. So when you're, and it's not like you don't have to directly be like, oh, like, and I understand it being, because my, like, I am in a red county myself. But when you have particular conversations, I parry political conversations. So around politics, obviously it's something that politics affects directly. However, it's not a direct conversation that you would have with people, right? So like for instance, there are people that didn't vote blue because they haven't unpacked their heavy misogyny. However, everything that they
Right.
say that they stand for and they want out of something ends up being exactly what they could have had on the left. So, helping them break down those barriers and be like, "Oh, well, why is that your point of view, or why do you see it as that?" type of thing can definitely be
Or
helpful.
did you know?
Yeah.
Did you know that this is what the other side had to represent? Because I noticed that as well. A lot of people just have no idea
Yep.
about the people that aren't on their, quote unquote side that they've been on forever. I'm in a kind of an opportune position right now. I'm in one of the cities that Trump funded to put one of the giant AI centers,
Hmm.
and everybody up here, everybody in my community is pissed about that. They hate it.
Electricity is going up and
So I
water is becoming very, very. Is that
right,
like so I know Crispy Corpus Christi is being heavily affected. Um,
yeah,
and so like a lot of places are being heavily affected. However, that is one huge one in Texas. Um, and that would just be like one of those things, just like, yeah, the lack of regulation on AI is
right.
like,
But what I'm getting at is I'm trying to use the social spheres here to get people to pay attention to why they that this was allowed to happen here, and
mhm.
I get nothing but pushback. People are just like, "Oh, you're just defending the side," and blah blah blah. And I don't know how to get through to people. I give them, data and stats and point them in directions, and why do you think this is happening? And they don't care.
So I would
Very frustrating.
definitely so it's one of those things that you kind of like need to dip your toe into, right? So when you dip your toe into it, you're just like, yeah, when like as I was it don't necessarily go directly into the left or the right did this, right?
Right? Yeah, absolutely not.
Just a second. All right, so it's one of those things. It's like it's not jumping into the left did this or this is what the right like campaigned on or whatever. This is a great way to kind of ease into it and be like, hey, has anybody noticed that their electricity is going up, but like they are using either the same or less than what they were already using?
Right.
Has anybody noticed that like it just doesn't the water just doesn't seem as watery. I'm
Right.
fucking with you. I'm being
No,
sarcastic.
no,
But
I know. Like
yeah. And
it's just more like it's a bunch of angry people online,
mhm.
and I'm trying to like rally them into a form to to actually put a spear tip towards the right direction, and I get nothing but pushback. It's so weird
Okay.
because I think it's because so much of our local politics is tied up in religion, and anytime you go against, say, these Christian college alumni who are filling the spaces in our politics, you're attacking Christianity now, and it's like uh, I'm opposed to organized religion, but that's not the point that I'm getting at here. I don't know how to get people to separate these issues and look at these people and what they're doing instead of how they identify, and then drawing conclusions to to their connection to those people's identities, and see the issues as separate from their identity. I guess is what I'm trying to say.
I understand. So the best way of survival when it comes to that is talking to people like humans again. And I am a crash out queen because I love chaos.
Yeah,
However, it's just a matter of being like, this is where your webs will come into handy. This is where your ADHD comes into handy, right?
yeah, right.
So this is when you break out like, hey, y'all ever thought about like Why things keep getting worser and worser, and then you're just like,
or just stay the same
yeah,
issues we've been dealing with
like,
forever,
yeah,
or
we're
stay the same
stagnant
issues or
and we
whatever.
keep
No.
getting promised so much more. And that's one of those things where you're just like, you pull in that real world issue. Like, damn, I went and got gas this morning, and I typically, like, it's typically $50, but like it's nearly doubled, type of
Yep.
thing. And it's like, oh, I think I read somewhere that, like, the there you have the summer blend, and so gas prices do go up with the summer blend. However, then I start looking further into it, and I realize that, you know the price of the barrels of oil that they still have to refine are they're up, like they're up significantly.
Oh yeah.
And so you
Oh
just
yeah.
you kind of just like, that's where your ADHD will come in handy, and that will be a great hyperfixation for you. It's just like, wait, how is this linked to this? Oh, but how is this linked to this? And then next thing you know, you'll have a schmurder board with the red yarn just going like around the
Yeah.
little thumbtacks, so look like Charlie from Always Sunny.
My hero.
So I will say, like, don't give up on yourself, especially if you wouldn't give up on yourself if it was like you fighting over like the last pack of chips, and or the last rolls of toilet paper back in 2020. Like,
No joke.
don't give up on yourself, because if you just gave up the toilet paper back in 2020, how the fuck were you supposed to, take care of business? And so that would be my biggest recommendation, is to think of it on that level of like, your vote is your toilet paper. If you want things to get done, fight for that fucking toilet paper.
Yeah.
That was the wildest fucking analogy, but I'm here for it. Fight for your toilet paper.
I just put up a day in the bathroom and call it good.
No, you still gotta fucking pat dry. What the fuck? You know where bacteria grows? But is there any other question that you might have when it comes to anything that you're not necessarily informed on, or don't know how to approach, or don't know how to feel about? I'll give you information and places to look at it. How I'm not going to sit there and tell you my opinion on it, but I was told the bidet pays
Not
for itself
particularly.
in like 2 months.
The what now?
I got a comment saying the bidet pays for itself in like 2 months. I mean,
Oh,
back
so
in
it just
2020,
makes
I
sense.
bet it
Okay.
paid for itself like immediately.
Yeah. You go bidet and toilet paper just seems barbaric.
Again, pat dry, dark, wet places are where bacteria grows. Please pat dry, y'all. And that is my advice for today. If it's nothing else you take from this conversation, pat dry.
Hygiene is important.
Hygiene is important. All right. Well, thank you for calling. And if you have any questions, let me know. And I will be here. And I'm on YT and over here on Techie Talks. So if you do have any questions, whether you joined from TikTok or YT, you can find either link in the bio or link in the description to be able to get to either or, so I can answer any messages or anything else.
Sounds good. Talk to you later.
All right. Bye, worm.
Bye.
All right. So that was fun. Did anyone get any, exciting news from the press release or conference? No? Okay. So we learned today that conservatives are very accepting, that your vote is toilet paper in 2020. Nobody else is going to fight for your ass to be clean but you. Why would Bonnie be there? Hi, Bonnie. I was just admiring you earlier, admiring your ability to not, not have a record. He's using it as an excuse to get the ball removed. Hi, how are you?
I'm kind of mad you were stringing us along, making us think that that was a genuine conversation.
It was a genuine conversation.
Okay.
Monty, I've asked multiple times um, for there to be time limits on that cellular device of his. Please, parental controls. I am begging you. After a certain time, he's got to go. Communism croissants. Okay, so hey, if y'all got iPhones, put it on the family shit and go ahead and put his fucking age under 13, parental controls. That was a genuine conversation. Because I actually learned a lot more from that conversation. Any Hoosers. How do you got Mom Donnie's number? Okay. Anyways, this was fun. This is fantastic. This is great. Anybody want to play RuneScape? I kind of want to play RuneScape. I honestly want to do some hood rat shit and kind of troll some like, hey, there's a Sparky. I thought you left. Oh, Money Gun. Okay, so I don't know why. I actually don't know why I can't fucking see my gifts. So sorry. I don't know what the fuck. I'll figure that out later. Y'all didn't see that. So I would like to. Ooh, can we play Yap Yap? Are we playing Yap Yap? Are we playing Yap Yap? Are we playing Yap Yap? I'm so excited to be reincarnated 15 times in one round. Blue memorizes that freaking spell by heart. Okay, well, I'm going to say bye, tubes. I'm so happy that I was able to do my first official stream for real life. But I'm going to say bye to the tubes. Bye. And we're